What's up, y'all? You got Dana here. K-Shine versus John John the Don dropped 4 days ago. It's the first battle off the Revelations card. Actually, a couple of things. I'm happy with the turnaround as far as dropping battles off that card, and the picture and sound are pretty good. I mean, I've heard stories from people that went to the event that was saying that like the sound in the building was bad, so you can't even tell that's the case looking at the footage. I think performance wise both of them were pretty much on the ball. Aside from that though, there was stumbling and some questionable bars. So let's go ahead and get into this review. So K-Shine decides to go ahead and go first. He comes out talking about the whole situation with the tranny and how, if that gets brought up, only, a fag nigga will bring that up as an intro. I really didn't care for that, but I can understand somebody wanting to explain themselves and just getting that out of the way first. I did love his setup that he did with the Don, saying how, he thought he was going to get Hollow. He ended up getting John John, which is like a slap to his ego. The da-da-da-da, da-da-da-non. You did-da-da-dumb, this nigga's did-da-da-dead. All of that to me was funny as hell. I loved it. The first setup to John Doe was actually pretty predictable, but I did like how he came back around with it and said John Doe like John's money. I liked that. It was a little disappointing to watch K-Shine stumble through the rest of his Chris Lighty setup just because he built up the momentum initially from the Violator bar. So to see him kind of fight his way through that stumble was a little disappointing. However, I don't consider that a choke. He fought his way through it. It was definitely a stumble. The crowd noticed it. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. It was bad. The Don King bar to me was alright. There was a lot before it. The setup bars to me just really, me personally anyway, didn't mesh well to get to Don King, even though the Don King punch to me was dope. So now, aside from that bar, I did like the CB4 bar and how all of this stuff connected to the fact that John John is essentially a man who built his whole image around somebody else's image, and you can't be a real Don trying to be somebody that you're not, trying to be somebody else. The whole MC Gusto, all of that stuff to me was dope, and all of those elements together I really liked together. Now, I'm going to be honest, the whole setup where he did the Straight Outta Compton intro cadence, some of the bars in there were whack, like Twin 40s, like palms, hair sticking up like Einstein. Some of the bars you really can't hear them because of the crowd, but just that was whack. The only reason why I even liked that part was because of the fact that he rapped it using the Straight Outta Compton cadence. So all of these bars, the whole story that he told with Bill Collector and how John John choked against Bill Collector, all of this stuff to me, great storytelling. K-Shine's presence just as a rapper makes all of this stuff sound good. The way that he delivers it and just all of the theatrics. Dope shit nonetheless because of how it was delivered, but let's be honest. If someone else would have spit this stuff, if John John would have spit this stuff, we be saying it was whack. You at a loss for words every time some punk ass bills is involved. Love that line. The setup before it, like I said, delivered. It was all about the delivery. The stuttering, the funny to get to that. So it hit for me. It really hit for me. Again, the setup bars for the John John JJ setup were The punch is what did it. The punch is what made all of that worth the wait. Ended it off by saying, you niggas, if you niggas say the Don, call him John John, but if you say the Don, you ain't saying it right. Nice way to end it. The crowd didn't go for it one way or another. It was a stale ending to me. All in all, K-Shine's first round was pretty solid performance-wise. There are questionable bars in there. Very questionable bars that we could sit here and debate for hours on end. However, delivery is what saved a lot of this stuff and made a lot of this stuff passable. Straight out of the gate of John John's first round, he comes with the OK flips, which were cool. I liked it. I thought it was a great way to start. However, Soon after that, he gets into an Oklahoma City scheme. And of course, we've heard Oklahoma City schemes. Most recently, I think X Factor versus Verb. Now, I don't know if I'm really cool with him saying at the end of the OKC scheme, I know they've been used before, but, I battled, what I'm saying? I'm battling a nigga that's been dead before. You said that same shit against Hitman, so that's not going to fly every time you feel like borderline sharking. I'm just saying, just for future reference, that's not going to be good enough, Bar flipping, you know what? The question has to be raised. Is that bar flipping or is that like deliberate recycling? The Tsunami Surf line I thought was dope. I was digging the Shine flips. I thought they were cool. They were solid. The crowd liked them. He delivered them well. They were good. Pair of Texas, let them hold them. Dope way to start off the poker scheme. The 2 9s, flip them, call them the Olsen Twins Full House was cool too. Now, we are bordering this shit being a little long-winded once he hits the word poker flips. Everything after that to me kind of seemed long and drawn out. He had me in the initial bit of the poker scheme. I can, however, appreciate when he did the poker tips thing on the river. That to me was kind of dope. But like I said, it was getting long-winded at this point. But that was hot. That part of that scheme was actually cool to me. Now, the Twitter scheme we've heard before. I thought the weed theme, that whole setup, I thought it was dope. Ending with K2, probation, synthetic weed is K2. The Connect the Dots bar was hot too. I thought the Pac-Man Eat Every Dot I See bar was kind of weak. The K9 bar to, Sun's Out, K-Shine, those bars were iffy. Now, I personally thought that John John's ending was strong. The whole, take Rex dick out your mouth and all this shit. Don't forget to zip him up. It was strong. I thought it was funny. It was a great way to end. Much stronger ending than K-Shine's. And that was pretty much the round. If I had to give the first round to anybody, I definitely gave it to K-Shine. There were a couple elements in John John's first round that were predictable, and there were a couple of elements in John John's first round that had already been used before. You can call it recycling, you could call it bar flipping. I can't say for sure what that was, but there were things in there that I have seen before, so I can't really give them to you. As far as K-Shine stumble, there's this rule that's, this unspoken rule anyway, that if you choke, you lose the round. But I don't feel like K-Shine choked in the first round. He stumbled, I feel like a choke is when you just can't get the words out. But it didn't look like a choke. K-Shine's intro in the second round was funny. T-Rex saying John ain't that material. I loved the Free Willy bar. The imagery in my head of seeing Free Willy over the rock, the whale, was funny to me. I liked it. What I can appreciate about K-Shine's is he really went all the way with it. Braid cut, dreadful, fade away. There were so many hair words packed in there. I thought that was dope. That kind of stuff. I love that kind of stuff. So for me, that was a good look. I loved it. He'll never have a wave because he's going against the grain was a dope punch to me to end that scheme. I liked it. Of course, what would a battle against John John be without somebody doing a multiple choice flip? I loved how he took the multiple choice scheme and used alliteration. I thought that was a great way to flip it too. K-Shine really dismantled the multiple choice and did a couple of things with it, and I liked that in the second round. I really, really liked that because we're so used to niggas being like, "Hey, da 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 da," and be like, that gets old. I'm really glad that he just did something else with it. That was the big thing. Just do something else with it. Be around a nigga pulling or make him die off the second hand. That cigarette bar to me was actually really nice. I liked that bar. The Soul Train Don Cornelius line was funny, but I don't think it was all that hot. It was funny though. Kayshawn went ahead and ended the second round again with the whole, you know, you can call him John John, you know, if you add Don, you ain't saying it right. And that was pretty much the end of his round. The K flips in the beginning with the capital K, uppercase K were cool. I liked them. The crowd predicted them. I still like them. I thought they were dope. We've heard keyboard schemes before. Shit, even Kayshawn did one against Passwords, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to think. The scheme in and of itself though was dope. That particular style scheme, the whole keyboard thing, I mean, like I said, it's been done before, but hey. The way that he ended it, flipping the capital K from being predictable to like something new, I did dig, and I liked how he turned that around. All of the wouldn't get that nigga bars were kind of but ending it off with get that nigga Rex, like on some shit like, you know, that's his daddy and he always gotta go get Rex to get a nigga was funny to me. I liked that bar. I thought it was dope. The round scheme was dope. Even though the punch was predictable, I love the way that he executed it. He even acted it out. It was dope shit. I don't care that, you know what I'm saying, niggas caught the punch. I don't care. It was dope. I loved it. The battle footage recap line, I thought that was dope too. I gotta give John John credit for flipping the multiple choice scheme himself. It just kind of sucks that both him and Shine both had the same approach with the DE shooting all of the above. The bar itself probably would have went over well had John John been able to say it first. So you can't really take it away from him that Shine got it off. How was he to know that like he was gonna come with that? It's funny because when he went back to do the multiple choice scheme, the crowd was with it, you know. And it's cool because it kind of reminded me of what Chilla Jones did against JC. I just spelled his name backwards and he didn't even know it with the Nail You J bar. So, same shit. The SAT, ACT scheme, that whole test number 2, that scheme was dope. That was solid shit. I loved it. Sat and act, you know what I'm saying? Sat down, act right, all that. Dope shit. I loved it. Now, my favorite scheme from John John at this point of the battle is definitely the Mount Rushmore scheme. Executed well, delivered well. Technically, that was a dope bar. Come on now. Head rock, 4 dead presidents. 1, 2, 3, 4 heads on a rock. All of them niggas is dead presidents. That's hot shit. I loved it. It was crazy. I loved that. The next couple of bars here were hit and miss. The Tay Rock bars with the Rushmore, I liked. The Victor Cruz salsa line, hated it. Predictable. The Proving Grounds, I'm still proving grounds, John John, to, but I ain't got shit to prove. The only thing besides your life, the only thing you got to lose. That part of those set of bars I did like. Now, I'm not really sure as to why the crowd's not really going crazy for the way that John John's ending these rounds. Because then he mentions the fact that, like, Kayshawn was getting his ass gripped at the Verb battle with the whole using Kayshawn's slogan, zip them up at the end. I think that it's solid shit. And I think that niggas ought to be going crazy for that. That's dope. To me, anyway. You know, but who am I? The second round was definitely a shift for me. I feel like Kayshawn really didn't come with a lot. There were, like I said, there were elements there that I liked. However, taking all things into consideration, John John just had a couple of more things that really moved me more. So I gave the second round to John John. Kayshawn's third round was a couple of elements, and I'll just condense them for you for the sake of this review. The theme of Kayshawn's entire third round was the fact that John John makes the worst life decisions, and he used the tagline, I guess, if you want to call it that, for lack of a better word at the moment. You make the worst life decisions. For instance, he started off with him losing at 106 in Park. A couple of things that stuck out to me that I liked and found really entertaining was, you know, you lost to a white guy on black entertainment television and you're African American. Funny shit. You was just coming off, you know, impressing Diddy and, you know, putting on a good show at Summer Madness too. That was all funny to me. And then later on in the round, something that I thought was really cool that he did was he used this angle that allowed for him to go about spitting bars to John John that were reminiscent of past performances from some Dot Mom members that included Mook, him, and Rex. In particular, Rex against Tech Nine, Kayshawn against Shotgun Suge, and Mook against Solomon. Then later on in the round, Kayshawn talked about how John John plays like he doesn't care about anybody else and doesn't give a fuck, but he's always using other people's bars. And a bar that stuck out to me in this particular setup was how you trying to play like you Pac, but you bigging us up. I thought that was dope. It wasn't really about the bars. I was more impressed with the fact that he took this different angle that we're used to seeing, but the fact that he like went through the crew and did it that way, I thought that was dope, and I love that approach. Sawed Off, Shotty, that shit shooting out breadsticks. All of y'all niggas that like that bar was ass. It wasn't even the punch. And for a setup bar, really? Your Shotty shooting out breadsticks? That's what y'all like? Y'all know it was whack. You would have thought the battle had ended the way the crowd was reacting to that. Like, it wasn't that good. You know what's funny? When the battle first came out and I heard that bar, I thought that I was losing my mind. I was like, why don't I get this? I don't get it. Like, I was trying to find the symbolism in the breadsticks. Like, nah, that bar is whack. Walk up to the body, give him that Izzy dead kick, bar to battle. You ain't gotta be from the land of the dress to get your head twist. It wasn't all that to me. But like I said, delivery has been the big element in this battle that's saving a lot of these bars. The Air I Left bar, I did like. That was cool. Went over well, delivered and executed effectively. The Sammy the Bull and the John Gotti bars were dope to me. I like how Kayshawn put together I like the way Kayshawn put that together. It was dope to me. Now, Kayshawn did another life decisions where he talked about how, of course, John John ain't about that life. He did a little house scheme. The Outback punchline, sitting out back, was funny. I dug that. It was cool. One thing that I gotta say though, the way that Kayshawn ended the round I didn't like, but overall his performance in the third round was solid shit. I think that those angles were dope, and using Dot Mob to get his bars out was cool. I like the whole way that ended up. I love the way he put that together. Starting off with the line about getting recruited to Dot Mob and fuck do I look like Tay Rock was funny. And them panning the camera to Tay Rock made it funnier. The high def line didn't do it for me either, honestly. The little deodorant scheme was cool. I liked it. The naming arms at all armed. It was cool. You've been writing this shit for months. I just wrote this shit last Thursday. Gotta say one thing about this bar in particular. If you know what I'm saying, didn't take the time to write your bars, I have to say that it's kind of evident. Like, some of this stuff is real hit or miss. Anyway, Silver Medal wasn't gonna beat me in the first place. I like that bar. That was cold shit. I like that. What would iPhone 4, the series, That bar was cool too. I was digging that too. Now, later on in the round, John John starts talking about the transsexual situation. A couple of elements in there that I actually did like was, you know, him going about that angle by saying, you know, you don't see Frank Ocean running around blaming him coming out of the closet on like one of his homeboys, which I thought was funny and effective. You probably fucking Randy was fucking funny. Europe UK was whack to me. Flowers Bouquet, predictable bar. Live 2K, again, predictable. Now, the polka dot matches stripes bar to me was dope. I love that. Kind of sucks that John John didn't get to end the way that he wanted to end. Outside of that, not that strong of a finish. This third round was pretty clear to me just because there was a lot of predictability in the third from John John. So I gave it to K-Shine. And that's pretty much the battle. You know, you can already tell I gave this battle to K-Shine 2-1, giving him the first and the third, and giving John John the second. I feel like with time, John John, you know what I'm saying, the only place to go for him at this point is up. He did not get bodied. If I had to say anything as far as things that, you know what I'm saying, were left to be desired, of course, lyrically, K-Shine wasn't on it, but like I said, he's a performance guy. His performance definitely carried him this battle. Now, as far as John John, I feel like he's got to do something about the bars and about, you know what I'm saying, not being predictable. I'm not really sure what it is that could fix that at the moment, but one thing's for sure, you don't want to be in that category of guys that like people are always checking for your originality as far as what it is that you're spitting. This battle could have gone either way, you know, just based on how everything went. I don't think the crowd was a factor in whether or not John was going to win or lose, because at the end of the day, there were a good bit of bars that we'd heard before and a good bit of bars that were extremely predictable. If you haven't seen the battle, I'm going to make sure to leave a link for it down in the description box below. Don't forget to like this video, share this video, comment on it, and let me know who you thought won and why. And if you haven't done so already, please make sure to go over to Facebook and go and like the Envied Life, all one word, on Facebook. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see y'all in my next video. Peace.